And Professor Rajat started, joy must be the process of self-exploration. Joy must be the process of educating oneself. Joy must be the process by which we understand our nature and we contribute based on our nature to the global harmony. I will just let you know that this NEP, National Education Policy, while we look forward to a holistic education pattern, what is missing is actually the consciousness paradigm. A consciousness-driven education. We are all conscious beings. Consciousness pervades everywhere, from plants to aquatics to insects, birds, animals, human beings. We are all conscious agents. But when you force these conscious agents to be sterile, programmed, procedural, then all kind of problems, they do crop up. With all the progresses that we have made, we still have this similar problem the world is facing. Whether it is global warming, environmental crisis, the problem of food security and food safety. There are innumerable problems, but these problems, they will not disappear just because we create certain educational set-off. Most important is that where is our consciousness? We are not able to see things in a holistic way, in the framework of whole and part. Two examples I will quote to make my point a little clear. In 2019, I went to China as a consultant to a school program that is being conducted by Chinese DJI Matrix group in Shenzhen. And they invited, or they recruited 100 best school students, 11th and 12th graders. All over China, 100 students, they brought them, they put them in a camp. And they were teaching them for a month, and after a month they will give a problem to solve. And then there is a competition. So when I interacted with these students, what I found out, amazingly, that they are school students, and while solving the problem, of course it's related to robotics and AI, they could tell the technical words. That's music to my ear, because even most of our undergraduates, they pass out. They don't use such thing at IIT. That's from my experience. Some of the students said that they have used extended Kalman filtering based estimation technique. Some of them said that they are using model predictive control to track the trajectory. And these are all school students. I was thinking, how could they learn it? So basically, they learned because they were given a hands-on experience using Arduino board, Raspberry Pi, motors, sensors, assembling them, doing things from the scratch, making a product, realizing that how this product would work. And from those whole set of experience, they started going deep. Oh, I have a system now, there are certain problems I have to solve. And from there they learn the ideas, whether it is EKF-based tracking or model predictive control and so forth. I was amazed. When I came back, I wanted the same thing to replicate at IIT Kanpur. I wrote to the director, But you know that after that, the pandemic started, and then I recently changed to IIT Mandi. And after reaching IIT Mandi, first thing I did is that we have to start the school program. We also did the same thing from Himachal Pradesh. We collected 100 students. There are 1,200 applicants. Through an written test, we took 100. And now these hundreds are going through a school camp at IIT Mandi. And what I'm happy to let you know that these boys and girls who are there in the camp, not only they are learning and building things, but they are very happy. They are at IIT Mandi with good ambience, learning things by doing, and simultaneously we are also giving certain Indian knowledge system based to see things in a holistic perspective, and a very good way of understanding things, not just that I have to understand this thing, but creating a curiosity in them. So while we are doing that, we simultaneously we are doing a summer workshop for our own students at IIT Mandi. I took some of my students from IIT Kanpur, whom, because for last 2-3 years while I was at IIT Mandi, IIT Kanpur, we created a system where people again do things from the scratch and then ask questions why this is working. So instead of teaching them what is an op-amp, what is an integrated circuit, what is an amplifier, what is a microcontroller, they need to themselves understand this, their need for them, and ask question and solve that problem. So there is a design practicum course at IIT Mandi, so where some of the typical problems are given to IIT Mandi students. For example, in Himachal Pradesh, you get this acrod, walnuts. One of the problem in walnut there, they grow a lot of walnut, but to bring values to that, you need equipment by which you can crack those hard cover such that the inner thing is not broken. So a problem, design an instrument that can break these walnuts, right? So similar kind of problem, like, for example, monkey menace is a big menace in Himachal Pradesh. They destroy the not only fruits, varieties of crops a lot. So one problem is that can you create some kind of device that will create a warning system and will drive away these animals. So these kind of problems are given. So, but these boys, although this program is there already in IIT Mandi, they don't have any formal education. How to really, before you are given a problem, you need to have certain basics. So during this summer, we created a course called Foundations of Design Practicum. So in this particular lab, we put all the devices that can be used, whether it is a 3D printer, CNC, lathe, PCB fabrication, motors, sensors, everything were kept. And it's almost like more than 100 hours of lecture. Students learned using your 360 Fusion CAD tool, how to design systematically a device which will hold its motor in a place, where the Raspberry Pi will be fit in, where will the onboard computer, the motors, and everything. They have to really think about things, and they have to design it, and then they fabricate it, then and there. and then they embed electronics into this device. And after that, once this particular thing is done, they have to control it using a smartphone. So basically, he learns A to Z of a hands-on experience of building a prototype, embedding electronics, and finally making it to work, right? So just, before I came, almost everybody design practicum students were there, and this group demonstrated their product while controlling from a smartphone. Everything very nicely designed, and of course they designed a autonomous robot that can be controlled from a smartphone, and they learned so many things. And this is a course that will be floated in the first semester when the students come. So basically, when you give a hands-on experience to the students that want to do, the higher concepts, they naturally go. Whether it is, once they're there, they have to make this robot autonomous. Obviously, they would ask the concepts like EK-based tracking or model predictive control. They automatically come because they know now they have something, they have to make it functional. So this hands-on based learning is something we are missing in our educational system, and I think time has come. We need to change our paradigm of education, simply going to the blackboard and teaching the theory, but without ever giving them certain experience. So while this is just one bit that we experimented, and I'm hopefully sure that this is going to change the aptitude or the way we want to teach, and this can be taken into so many ways. The other aspect I would like to tell you, in 2012, we took a land in Vrindavan to start a Gurukul, 100 acres of land. When I took that land, I didn't know, because we were looking for a bigger land, such that because we wanted a holistic education to be imparted, people should live in a natural environment, and they must feel that how in the nature we are all in a symbiotic relationship coexist. To execute that, we needed a big land, but later we realized this land is sterile, alkaline, full of salt. Even the water is salty. Deep down, we went even 1,000 feet, water is salty. And then we asked for a soil conservationist, district agriculture officer. Everybody came to our land, and they said, you can't do anything here. Full stop. But we have paid money, and we had something to do. So I sent some of my colleagues there. They got trained by Subhas Palekar in doing natural farming. Natural farming is simple thing, is that in cow dung you have these microbes, and using a stimulating environment, like you add some jaggery, add some besan powder or channa powder, and grow these microbes into billions, and sprinkle every 15 days in the land. The moment they start living in that land becomes livable and hence fertile. This killed the very idea of soil fertility that we teach to our students in terms of its calcium content, this nitrogen content, this content, that content. In the same very land, not only we have now 400 residential students, we are growing wheat, rice, all kind of vegetables, flowers, everything we are growing. So basically, when we teach students, what we miss is the consciousness. What is this consciousness? Consciousness is all-embracing concept that tells us how the variegated life systems, according to our literature, they are in number 8.4 million, and they have a systematic coexistence. We need to understand this. Technology can be enabler, but when technology becomes a destroyer, things are going to collapse. And this is a success story that I would like to tell you. And you see that in spite of all this progress, we need to understand, even if technology is spreading or advancing, you need to feed 7 billion bellies, and we still have the problem of hunger. How to tackle it? So, bringing a very holistic picture, realizing that nature must be preserved, the rivers must be preserved, the jungles must be preserved. These are very idea of holistic consciousness. Unless we bring in and make a technology enabler, I think we cannot go further. So with that, I thank you with 2 bits of my experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Laxmidhar Behera, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, Mandi. As you have rightly said, that building that consciousness, that's more important. And you also talked about the life and work experience, that let's come out of our written documents and written curricula and give hand-on experience to our students so that they are exposed to the need of the industry, as was referred by Mr. Dipankar as well in his speech, that this time that we blend that foundation and curricula with the need of the industry. Unless we do that, there will always be a gap. You can create any versions of NEP, but the end goal won't be achieved just like that. Thank you so much, Professor Behera.